coffee's on the way.
Fire up the roaster. It's perfect. Hey, fellow leaderboard folks. So my name's Laura. I am coming to you from a awesome sunny day outside Vancouver. We're just starting to get those. It's normally quite rainy. Me, along with my partner, we run Luna Coffee, and we submitted a coffee to Leaderboard. And I'm sure you're wondering which one was that? Well, it is um, Greville Sauvignon. The variety is Paraneima, and he grows this variety along with his partner Hilda Leyva in Las Flores, Santa Barbara, Honduras. I thought it would be cool to give you a little bit of a rundown and context around this coffee because it's pretty neat. So let's go all the way back to 1940. There's a association called CATI in Costa Rica. It stands for the Central for Tropical Agriculture Research and Higher Education. And they have about 1,000 hectares of all sorts of different varieties of plant species, thousands of plant species, and within those uh, thousands of varieties. And that includes plantains, cacao, and of course, coffee. So um, I want to say like 2010, 2011 is when this variety Paraneima really started to crop up, and that's around the early 2000s is when Catty gifted a selection of a variety family, I suppose, called Sarchimor. Um, and it was given to the Honduran Coffee Institute, and it was nicknamed Paraneima. So Sarchimor is a cross between Via Sarchi and a Timor hybrid. So typically different species of plants aren't supposed to be able to make babies, but there was a spontaneous, I guess, mating, for lack of a better term, of breeding in the wild between Arabica and Coniferea, otherwise known as Robusta. And this Timor hybrid was the result. So what's interesting about hybrids like this is they are more hardy. They tend to be more disease resistant, and especially now with climate change really accelerating, different countries are relying more and more on hybrid varieties in order to grow. But the issue remains cup quality. So unfortunately, a lot of these hybrids, especially early renditions of these varieties, they tend to not taste very good. I would argue that this variety that you have in your pack actually does taste good, though. That's why we bought it. That's why we've been buying it over the last few years. Um, what's interesting is typically in the area that Greville is growing this Paraneima, the variety that everyone in the neighborhood loved to grow previous, and people still do, is Pacus, which is a dwarf mutation of Bourbon. But unfortunately, um, things, especially like leaf rust, which is a spore that's airborne, and then after a rain, it really goes wild and rampant through coffee farms. Um, it's essentially meant that people are wanting to switch away from growing varieties like Pacus, and they want an alternative that is more hardy, but is still delicious. Um, the interesting thing about this variety grown in Las Flores in Santa Barbara, actually, though, is how it initially came to be. So, um, zoom out to okay, Cathy gave this variety to eCafe in Honduras. Next, a bag of parchment, so coffee seeds with the parchment layer still on, were given to a gentleman by the name of Julio. Um, he's nicknamed Yo-Yo for short, and he lives in the same neighborhood that Greville does. And he planted this variety. He started growing it. It uh, it worked out really, really well. He was able to have a very sizable and healthy harvest, and started sharing those seeds with his neighbors. Now, the thing is, they all thought it was Pacamara. And so thinking it was Pacamara, generally being very happy and proud of what he was producing, he ended up submitting a lot in 2015 to another competition called Cup of Excellence, and he ended up placing first in that competition. But it was then that the Honduran Coffee Institute said, "Hey, Yo-Yo, that's actually not Pacamara; it's Paraneima." And to be honest, when I was visiting that area a lot around that time, before we knew definitively that what variety it was, um, coffee buyers such as myself, when we were going, we were thinking, it doesn't look, the plant, the coffee fruit doesn't look the same as a Pacamara. There's something a little bit different to it. The way the end of the cherry kind of juts out a little bit. Also, the way the coffee looks. And this actually plays into your task, which is to identify what this coffee is. Um, the bean is long. It looks like it could be, maybe a selection of a geisha or it looks kind of Pacamara like, but not quite. But what's really a giveaway is the flavor. Different Sarchimor varieties, including this Paraneima. There's another one called Ana Cafe 14 in Guatemala, which is a different selection of a Sarchimor. um, they all tend to have this signature of really bright, racy acidity, a sort of herbal quality that we're often identifying as like cola or root beer or that kind of thing, those types of herbs, um, and a resinous sort of sweetness as well. So, anyway, great coffee, really unique variety. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have enough to brew it one last time, we often brew with Kalita, and we have a small Kalita recipe on our website that's pretty flexible and versatile, and would do right by this coffee. So, thanks so much.